now to use the window prompt method to open a dialog box that captures text inputs directly from your user. In this example, we want to look at the prompt box. And the prompt box is what completes our trio of classic browser pops up. While we have alert that shows text and confirm that ask yes or no, a prompt box provides an input field for your user to type a custom answer. So this prompt method that we're about to look at in this example is like a quick lightweight form that pops open to ask for any information before letting the user move forward. And we are going to move into the script section and add that example for us to follow along and see how the prompt method actually works in JavaScript. So the first thing I want to do is I want to add a button inside this part of my code in the HTML section. So add a button here. Put this as text, try it. And this button is tiny, so I will add an ID of BTL, which I already have styled in my CSS. So if you look at my CSS, so you can see my BTL, look at it. So it's already styled here. So let me return back into the HTML, and if you click on this now, it is not going to do anything for you because it's just an empty button element. It has nothing that is attached to it as it is. So in order to make this button functional, let's move into the script tag, and inside the script tag, let's make a function. Let's make a function, and let's call this my function. You can give it whatever name, but in my own case, this is the name I want to give it, my function. Then make an empty text variable, and I'm going to go ahead and make another variable. Now call on the prompt. So it's a method in JavaScript. You see, window prompt instructs the browser to display a dialog with an optional message, prompting the user to input some text and to wait until the user either submit the text or cancel the dialog. So call on that method prompt, and then what do you want to ask your user to do? Please enter your name, for example. And maybe Joyce, Mia, or whatever. Your name could be anything, but in my case, I want to use this. Now, with this name that I have set, I can then go ahead and make use of the conditional statement, that is if conditional, to check that if person equals to null, or I'm looking for the straight pipe, or okay, our person name equals empty. That is, check if this person name does not exist, if it is none, or the person's name is empty without any value. What should happen? Then let our variable hold a response, and let's call it user cancel the prompt. So this is going to happen if after the display of the prompt, the user cancel that prompt without answering what the prompt is asking for. Else, what should happen if the user did not cancel and they actually typed in something into it? Well, let's now say our text should show us this message: hello. Then capture the person, and then add another text. How are you today? Then we need a way to show this out on the screen. Then we'll go for the document.getElement by ID. Get element by ID. Demo dot inner HTML equals to whatever the output of our text is. But looking at what we have now, if you go ahead and click on this button, try me, nothing is going to happen because it's still just a button. To make this button functional, you need to come back inside your HTML part and add an on-click property. That is, this button should listen for an on-click action. That is, it should wait until it is being clicked on. So if you click on it, that is when it will fire whatever instruction you pass to it. If I did click and I hover on it, it is not going to do anything. And inside this on click, then call your function name and call that function directly like this. So if you go ahead and click on this, then you should see, please enter your name. I can now change it and say, this is my name, and click on OK. And you can see, hello Toby, how are you today? So this is how the prompt method actually works. So this example demonstrates how a button fires a pop-up that asks for your name and fills in a default value of Joyce Meyer. You might not add default value if you don't want. What I'm saying is, if I take this out now for demonstration purpose and I refresh, even if I do this, then it will just give me an empty box where I need to type my name. But if I want a default name, if I don't have a default name, I can go ahead and type name and it will still work. But if I want a default name, I need to include it in my code, just as the way it is right here. So if you type something and it's okay, the code greets you by name. If you back out, it politely catches that decision. And as well, if I click cancel without adding anything, then you can see user cancel the prompt. That is, it will fire what we have here inside the container. So the prompt method takes two parameters inside its parentheses. The number one is that it always takes the question. It's a require property. If I refresh and I click on try again, you can see. So it always take a question. The text display above the text field. This is the question. You can see it. And then it always take a placeholder. The placeholder is what we have here that is displayed. This Joyce Meyer here. So it prefers the input field, so the user doesn't have to start from scratch. So these are the two requirements for a prompt method. Now here are key takeaways from this lesson. Number one, a successful prompt always returns a string data type. If they back out, it returns a primitive null. That is, if they cancel, then it will return null. Number two, you can type it directly as prompt without the window prefix. So you don't need to add window to what we have here. You don't need to add window. Though if you add window, it will work, but you don't need it because it will still work even without this window prefix. And lastly, because prompt always returns string, if you ask a user for a number, like enter your age, you must pass the result through a conversion to like number or pass int before doing any math with it.